Hey, welcome back to part 3 of chapter 1. After we finish this part of this chapter, you're going to check out the PDF if you haven't already, read through some of the stuff in the chapter, and then you're going to take the quiz that's inside this assignment. Good luck. Simple quiz, easy. You'll be able to get 100, no problem. All right, part 3, chapter 1. Here we go. It was quite dark now, but the fire lighted the trunks of the trees and the curving branches overhead. Lenny crawled slowly and cautiously around the fire until he was close to George. He sat back on his heels. George turned the bean cans so that another side faced the fire. He pretended to be unaware of Lenny so close beside him. "George?" very softly. No answer. "George, what do you want?" "I was only fooling, George. I don't want no ketchup. I wouldn't eat no ketchup if it was right here beside me." "If it was here, you could have some." "But I wouldn't eat none, George. I'd leave it all for you. You could cover your beans with it, and I wouldn't touch none of it." George still stared morosely at the fire. "When I think of the swell time I could have had without you, I go nuts. I never get no peace." Lenny still knelt. He looked off into the darkness across the river. "George, you want I should go away and leave you alone?" "Where the hell could you go?" "Well, I could. I could go off in the hills there, someplace I'd find a cave." "Yeah. How'd you eat? You ain't got no sense enough to find nothing to eat." "I'd find things, George. I don't need no nice food with ketchup. I'd lay out in the sun and nobody'd hurt me. And if I found a mouse, well, I could keep it. Nobody'd take it away from me." George looked quickly and searchingly at him. "I've been mean, ain't I?" "If you don't want me, I can go off in the hills and find a cave. I can go away any time." "No. Look, I was just fooling, Lenny. 'Cause I want you to stay with me. Trouble with mice is you always kill 'em." He paused. "Tell you what I'll do, Lenny. First chance I get, I'll give you a pup. Maybe you wouldn't kill it. That'd be better than mice, and you could pet it harder." Lenny avoided the bait. He had sensed its advantage. "If you don't want me, you only just gotta say so, and I'll go off in those hills right there. Right up in those hills and live by myself, and I won't get no mice stole from me." George said, "I want you to stay with me, Lenny. Jesus Christ. Somebody'd shoot you for a coyote if you was by yourself." "No, you stay with me. Your Aunt Clara wouldn't like you running off by yourself, even if she is dead." Lenny spoke craftily. "Tell me, like you done before." "Tell you what?" About the rabbits." George snapped. "You ain't gonna put nothing over on me." Lenny pleaded. "Come on, George. Tell me, please, George. Like you done before." "You get a kick out of that, don't you? All right, I'll tell you, and then we'll eat our supper." George's voice became deeper. He repeated his words rhythmically, as though he had said them many times before. "Guys like us, that work on the ranches, are the loneliest guys in the world. They got no family. They don't belong to no place. They come to a ranch and work up a stake, and then they go into town and blow their stake, and the first thing you know, they're pounding their tail on some other ranch. They ain't got nothing to look ahead to." Lenny was delighted. That's it. Now tell how it is with us." George went on. "Well, with us, it ain't like that. We got a future. We got somebody to talk to that gives a damn about us. We don't have to sit in no barroom blowing our jack juice because we got no place else to go. If them other guys gets in jail, well, they can rot for all anybody gives a damn, but not us." Lenny broke in. "But not us. And why? Because I got you to look after me, and you got me to look after you, and that's why." He laughed delightedly. "Go on now, George." "You got it by heart. You can do it yourself." "No, you. I forget some of the things. Tell me how it's going to be." "Okay. Someday we're going to get the jack together, and we're going to have a little house and a couple of acres and a cow and some pigs and live off the fat of the land," Lenny shouted. "And have rabbits. Go on, George. Tell about we're going to have in the garden, and about the rabbits in cages, and about the rain in the winter in the stove, and how thick the cream is on the milk, like you can hardly cut it. Tell about that, George." "Why don't you do it yourself? You know all of it." No, you tell it. It ain't the same if I tell it. Go on, George. "Well, how I get to tend the rabbits." "Well," said George, We'll have a big vegetable patch and a rabbit hutch and chickens. And when it rains in the winter, we'll just say the hell with going to work and we'll build up a fire in the stove and sit around it and listen to the rain coming down on the roof. Nuts! He took out his pocket knife. I ain't got time for no more. He drove his knife through the top of one of the bean cans, sawed out the top, and passed the can to Lenny. Then he opened the second can. From his side pocket, he brought out 2 spoons and passed one of them to Lenny. They sat by the fire and filled their mouths with beans and chewed muddily. A few beans slipped out of the side of Lenny's mouth. George gestured with his spoon. What you gonna say tomorrow when the boss asks you questions? Lenny stopped chewing and swallowed. His face was concentrated. I ain't gonna say a word. Good boy. That's fine, Lenny. Maybe you're getting better. When we get the couple of acres, I can let you tend the rabbits all right, especially if you remember as good as that. Lenny choked with pride. I can remember, he said. George motioned with his spoon again. Look, Lenny, I want you to look around here. You can remember this place, can't you? The ranch is about a quarter mile up that way. Just follow the river. Sure, said Lenny. I can remember that. Didn't I remember about not going to say a word? Of course you did. Well, look, Lenny, if you just happen to get into trouble like you always done before, I want you to come right here and hide in the brush. Hide in the brush? Said Lenny slowly. Hide in the brush till I come for you. Can you remember that? Sure I can, George. Hide in the brush till you come. But you ain't going to get in no trouble, because if you do, I won't let you tend the rabbits. He threw his empty bean can off into the brush. I won't get into trouble, George. I ain't going to say a word. Okay, bring your bindle over here by the fire. It's going to be nice sleeping here, looking up in the leaves. Don't build up no more fire. We'll let her die down. They made their beds on the sand, and as the blaze dropped from the fire, the sphere of light grew smaller. The curling branches disappeared, and only a faint glimmer showed where the tree trunks were. From the darkness, Lenny called, George, you asleep? No, what do you want? Let's have different colored rabbits, George. Well, sure we will, George said sleepily. Red and blue and green rabbits, Lenny. Millions of them. Furry ones, George, like I seen in the fair in Sacramento. Sure, furry ones. 'Cause I can just as well go away, George, and live in a cave. You can just as well go to hell, said George. Shut up now. The red light dimmed on the coals. Up the hill from the river, a coyote yammered, and a dog answered from the other side of the stream. The sycamore leaves whispered, and a little night breeze. Okay, I hope you enjoyed part 3 of chapter 1. Remember, after you finish listening to all 3 parts and you take a look at the PDF of the chapter in print, in writing, go ahead and take the quiz. Good luck, guys. Talk to you soon.